You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so why try to build a business without one? Grow your contracting business and grow your mind with Growth Mindset Monday.
All right, here we are, another beautiful Monday. Thank goodness the snow is gone. Let me tell you, man, April, it should not be snowing, and it snowed last week, and I was over it. I think on Thursday we got about 3 inches of snow. Good riddance. Good riddance. It's springtime. It's like, let's go be springy and Easter eggs and bunnies, not like snowshoes and shovels. You guys know the drill. If you're here live, go ahead and drop your name, your business name, and where you're from, and we will give you a shout out. Man, what an interesting last week or so, right? It was really interesting because of all the things that are happening right now. And I don't just mean in my life, also in your life as well. There's a lot of things happening at a macro level. In other words, it affects everyone. In a micro level, it only affects, a few. And what I'm noticing is the people who can understand what's happening, they can learn how to play the game and then take advantage of that. So we got a couple folks in here with us live. We got Michael Babbitt, BMF Services, Build More Fences. I like that. Charlevoix, Michigan. Welcome to the show. We got Aaron Henry with Swift Kitchen Construction out of Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome, my friend. And Matt Beckel with Beckel Electric out of Chicago, Illinois. Welcome to the show. Again, if you're here with us live, go ahead and drop your name and your business name and where you're from, and we will give you the good old shout out. Oh, see, I was getting ready to say something, and Daniel. Good old Daniel has to slide in there. Daniel with Noble Custom Glass and Mirror from the mobile office again in good old Georgia. Welcome, my friend. So here's an interesting story for you, right? I work with a lot of different contractors, and I say contractors from like doing 15 million a year to contractors, doing 50 grand a year, right? And kind of everything in between. And what I've realized is there's some commonalities across the board. Now, this doesn't mean that like all of them didn't go to college or all of them did. It doesn't mean that all of them grew up in a certain area or all of them didn't. It's just an understanding that we as humans have a lot of things in common, right? And I'll get back to the whole idea of macro and microeconomics here in a minute. We got a couple of folks. Marky M, first time here. Welcome, Marky. We've also got Ryan McEntee with Key West Remodeling out of Orlando, Florida. I was just there a couple of weeks ago. It was a nice balmy 87 degrees, but we had a great time because we went to my wife's favorite place on earth, Disney World. And then we've got Ismaili Hossein. Welcome to the show as well, my friend. So this last week, there's been so much in the news, both nationally and locally, right? So I'll start nationally. Tariffs. Like, how long have people been talking about tariffs? Interest rates when it comes to lending and houses and stuff. Weather, politics, right? We can keep going down the path. There's all of these things that are constantly in the news, right? Now, I'll tell you, there's two types of people when it comes to things that are happening at a national level. There's the people who like to run and hide, like I call it Chicken Little, right? The sky is falling, the earth is ending, and we're all going to die. And then there's people who say, cool, I acknowledge what's happening, but I'm going to figure out, does this directly affect me? If so, what am I going to do about it? If not, I'm just going to ignore it and keep rolling, right? Got a couple more folks checking in here. We've got Sean White with White's Brush Management out of New Hampshire. Welcome. And then we've also got Stephen Smith, excited to be here. Thank you, Steve. We're excited that you are here. Tennessee Land and Lawn. So here's the question, right? Why is it that we spend so much time thinking and talking and worrying about things that are out of our control? I belong to the local home builders association, and a lot of the talk right now are around cities and the different cities and all their different permitting processes and whether they work well with, GCs and subs and whether they don't. And some of them are you still got to submit stuff on paper, and some of them it's all digital, and one city subs out to another city because they actually don't have a department, and just constantly this back and forth about the quote unquote difficulty of the job, right? But here's the truth. Okay. It doesn't matter where prices go up or prices go down. It doesn't matter what the economy looks like. It doesn't matter about tariffs, right? It doesn't matter about politics. It doesn't matter about weather. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you're either going to succeed or you're going to fail. And as much as you'd like to think that external factors play a role in that, they do, but not as large of a role as you think. But as much as you like to think that they're in control, these external factors, the truth is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? And I tell you this because I'm going to give you some examples. There's an HVAC contractor. I teach some classes for the Home Builders Association, and we were teaching a class on marketing, right? We call it Magnetize Your Business. Cool name, but just marketing. And this was a 3-hour block. And at the end of it, this HVAC contractor comes up and talks to me. And the guy's doing $7.5 million a year. Pretty successful, right? He's been in business, I think, since 2005. And he said, what you talked about really struck me. And I was like, well, thanks. I appreciate that, right? I love when people say good things about me, right? We all do. But he said, no, what I loved about it was the fact that you mentioned exactly what it was that helped me get to where I'm at. Excuse me. He said, I started my business right before the housing crash, right? 07, 08. I started my business right before. And he goes, when we first started, it was like a bat out of hell, man. We just like all of a sudden everybody needed us. And then I bought 2 trucks. I bought a building and the economy tanked. Now think about that for a minute, right? Think about being over leveraged. Think about what that feels like. Think about what that would do to you. And I'll tell you that there were a ton of contractors that went out of business. Anton, this particular HVAC contractor, was not one of them. And it was interesting having this conversation with him. We talked for about 10 minutes about why, right? And it was interesting for me because he nailed the 3 reasons why you're going to either succeed or fail as a contractor, right? And yes, there's a lot of them. I get it, but there's 3 main ones, okay? And I want to share those with you. William from Nebraska, Service Mechanical, welcome to the show as well. So those 3 things, right? What are the 3 things that are going to keep us from growing the business that we want, or even worse, cause us to shut down? Okay. I'll give you the first one, but I'm going to share a story before I give you the first one. I grew up in a little border town in Arizona called Nogales. Some of you may have been there. I'm sorry if you have. There's not much there. In fact, the 2 biggest economies in Nogales are produce that comes up from Mexico. And the second is actually government jobs, i.e. the Border Patrol, right? Those are the 2 biggest employers in Nogales. Now, my dad was a school teacher. He was in education. My mom was a homemaker. Well, we did not have a lot of money. In fact, at the time, I didn't realize it, but we would go down once a week to the food bank, and we would get, at that time, because SNAP wasn't as cool as it is now, you can go to McDonald's and the supermarket and the grocery store. We would go and get powdered milk. We would get whole wheat, right? We would get all of these items that were produced in bulk, flour, right? Things, sugar, so that we could eat oatmeal, right? And some of you have experienced something like this. And so this is, again, I'm just sharing my story, right? But I remember growing up and saying to myself, right, is this something that I deserve, right? Like, Am I destined just to be a government worker, which actually I was as a police officer for a few years, right? Am I destined just to have a government job and collect a paycheck? Is that what I'm destined to do? To do just enough to get by, to do just enough to get that quote unquote pension, 50% of my income, and then survive off of that for the rest of my life? Is that what I'm destined to do? Now, I'll tell you that I thought that that was my life for many years because even my parents ingrained that into me. Go to school, get an education, get a steady job, right? Work for somebody else. And even though in my mind I was like, man, I'm a business owner. Like I want to be in control. I want to have my thing. I want to create generational wealth, right? And I'm telling myself this stuff, but it wasn't happening. And it wasn't until I was probably, I'm going to say 10 years in my career as being a police officer that it finally clicked. Okay. Now, funny story. I actually got my business degree, a degree in business management, while I was working as a police officer. So just kind of a funny story, right? But during my time working as a police officer, what was I doing in my off time? Well, I had a window washing business for a little while, closed that because that was not the smartest thing to do in Phoenix in the summertime. I had a landscaping business. In fact, I had it for 3.5 years. The only reason I sold it is because we wanted down payment money for our next house. And so I sold it for pretty good clip, my truck, my trailer, all my houses and whatnot, all my accounts. So I had a couple businesses, while I was working as a police officer, but it didn't click until about 10 years in. And here's what it was, right? I actually went to a leadership training for the department. And at this point I was testing to be a sergeant, a supervisor, right? And so they like to send people to training. And so the training that I went to had everything to do with this idea of what's called limiting beliefs, right? And this instructor was talking about limiting beliefs and how they actually influence the success or failure that we have in life. And I was like, nah, it can't be that easy. It can't be limiting beliefs. Like, come on. But then he started to ask questions. He goes, how many of you have asked yourself this? Okay. Or have told yourself even this. I'm not experienced enough. I don't know enough people. I don't dress the part. I don't talk the way other people talk. My parents said I would never amount to anything. I didn't get good grades in school. I got picked on when I was a kid. And all of a sudden, all of these quote unquote stories that we tell ourselves become our reality. And why do so many people become employees? It's because they're told that that's the only way that they're going to have any success in life. It's because they're told that that's what they're destined to become. Now, some of us, including all of you, have managed to figure out a way to break free, right? And become business owners, which is great, except for the fact that you carry those limiting beliefs with you. And so my question to you is, how often have you found yourself thinking this way? I'm not experienced enough. I'm not connected enough. I'm not big enough. I'll never land those high-paying jobs. I'll never really grow my business. I'll never find the right people to help me out. I don't have what it takes. And then you settle. You settle for a life that's just good enough. How many of you guys have found yourself in that same scenario? Got Daniel, or excuse me, let me get Daniel here first. The magic of thinking big. Yes, which we'll get to here in a second. Steven says, someone once told me that you'll either chase your dream and find a way to make it work or work for someone else who did. 100%, right? But even in that journey, we still have those moments of doubt, those moments of insecurity, those moments of questioning whether we made the right decision. Here's what I'll tell you, okay? Success as a business owner, especially as a contractor, trade business owner, comes from one thing and one thing only. Ready? It's taking action. Are you going to struggle? Yes. Are you going to fail? Probably. Are you going to screw things up? 100%. But the only way you get better is by doing, right? So when you show up at a job site with a big developer saying, I want to bid your next flooring job, framing job, concrete job, whatever it is, guess what? They're probably going to tell you no until you go to the next one and the next one and the next one. right? And find the guy who's willing to tell you yes. And then figure it out, right? Figure it out because that's how you got to where you're at today. Now, the second thing, and this one's a hard one, okay? I struggle with this one. Do I have ADD? 100%. Yes, I have ADD, right? But I also have this weird thing of like perfectionism. Like I don't ask. We've got this drink cooler in the lobby where everybody comes in and everybody comes into the office is welcome to grab a drink, a snack, whatever. Every time I walk into the office in the morning, the first thing I look at is the drink cooler. And then I look at, okay, we're missing water bottles, we're missing energy drinks, we're missing Coke products, we're missing this snack, whatever. Like that's the first thing. But I'm not a natural detail oriented person, right? But for some reason that's my thing. And it's not just me, right? Because we think that everything has to be perfect in order for it to work. My logo has to be perfect. My website has to be perfect. My bids have to be perfect. My projects need to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect before I can compete with the big dogs, before I can grow, before I can put myself out there. And so as a contractor, you delay submitting bids, you delay launching your marketing, you delay taking on new work because you're overthinking the details. We got Jesse that says, people wait for the perfect time to start, but the perfect time to start is now. 100%. 100%. I'll give a couple people a shout out who showed up here. We've got James Reddy, Bring It Back Exterior. Welcome to the show. We've got Rodney with R&R Lawn Services watching. Welcome. And then we've got Venancio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Daniel says delegation to competent people. Yeah, right. But that's the problem is overcoming that perfectionism. Okay. Here's the truth, right? Clients value reliability and results over flawless presentations. Like, when's the last time you showed up at a potential client visit with mud on your boots? You think they cared that you had mud on your boots or that your truck wasn't the brand new 2025 edition? No, they don't. Right. So here's something to help you with that. It's something that I had to learn. I call it the 80-20 rule, right? If a bid or a flyer or a social media post or your website or whatever is 80% ready, do it. Let it go. Send it, as my son likes to say. Send it. Like, just go with it, man. It's not going to be perfect. I'm literally shooting a bunch of videos right now. We've got our new community launching here in a couple of weeks, which I'll share with you guys later. But it's like, man, I'm such a perfectionist, but nobody cares. Nobody cares if the font is this versus this. Nobody cares if the colors aren't set up right or if the logo's cut off on the end. Like, nobody cares. They're there for the result. And if you can do a good job of providing the result, not only will they come to you, but they will stick around and they'll refer you. We got Robert with Ram Roofing. Welcome, Robert. And then Maurice Jackson, first time here, Devoted Pest Control. Welcome to the show. So again, 80% rule, send it, right? Send it. Quit overthinking it. Your bid, here's another good one for you. For you guys who like to draw out your bids because they're not perfect, give yourself 24 hours, the ticking clock. Wherever you get to in 24 hours, send it. Literally, just send it. Like, one of the things that we do is we work with a lot of developers, right? And I will tell you, if you have the relationship, they're very forgiving. They'll be like, hey, man, you forgot to include this in your bid. Or, hey, man, your bid's a little high. What can we do to bring this thing down? They don't care what program you built the bid in, as long as it's not on the back of a napkin, right? They don't care. What they care about is you, okay? We got Joe Gideon with Tennessee Valley Power Cleaning. You want to present yourself to a customer as someone they can know, like, and trust. 100%, my friend. 100%. Thank you for that. We got Rachel with NSP Construction. Welcome as well. So we got a lot of you guys here, right? But again, the first thing that's going to hold you back is this idea of limiting beliefs. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. And doggone it, nobody likes you. Okay. The second thing is perfectionism. There's no such thing as perfect. Nothing. This is why I love like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. If you go back and study them, after the game, all they did was nitpick the things that didn't go right because they were constantly searching for that next level. So yes, understand that you're not perfect. And neither is anybody else, and they don't care. In fact, the people who do care are not your people. Move on. Okay, the last thing. This is big for all of you, especially right now. And it's this idea of scarcity mindset. What is a scarcity mindset? That means there's not enough. Okay. A lot of this, again, comes from your childhood. Like I grew up with 3 other siblings, 2 sisters and a brother. And I remember mom would put food on the table. And then as soon as we'd say grace, man, it was on and we would eat except for tofu. She went through this kick of making tofu and man, I was not, well, it still makes me gag. Not a fan, right? But it was on, man. The food, it was on. And a lot of us grew up that way, right? It's like, man, we were lucky if we got 3 solid meals. Like I remember PBJ was my lunch for years. I was happy with PBJ. Like even today, I don't eat PBJ very often, but when I hit PBJ, man, it takes me back to being a kid, right? Just good old peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Just a simple meal. But like it's that scarcity mindset, right? Here's a crazy one that I learned about myself a few years ago. Do you find yourself cleaning the plate like every single time, even when the food's not the best, even when you're full, you find yourself cleaning your plate? You know why? You guessed it. That scarcity mindset. When you're a kid, it's like, man, I need to eat all this because I don't know when I'm going to get more. Like we wouldn't eat meat that often because meat was pretty expensive. And so when we got it, even though my dad liked it like super well done, like literally charred sometimes, I would eat all of it. Why? Because like I didn't know when I was going to get it again. And I still find myself, or catch myself, I should say, doing that nowadays. Right? Last night we had our kids over for dinner. And during that conversation, right, I find myself talking to my son-in-law and trying to clean my plate. And I realized, wait a minute, like, why? Why am I doing that? I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. Okay. So scarcity mindset. Now, how does this apply to you in your business? Think about it this way. Have you found yourself saying there's not enough jobs out there? There's not enough clients. There's not enough opportunities, right? So you're like, I need to underbid. I need to work harder. I can't hire that person right now because I can't afford them. Or you know what? Actually, I'm not going to take on that big project because that means I'm going to have to hire people, but I don't know when that next job's going to come. So I'm not going to hire them. So I'm going to work double time, but I'm going to miss time with my family, but it's okay because at least I won't be putting myself out there. Sound familiar, right? We get caught in that cycle of thinking that there's not enough out there. So I want you guys to think about this for a minute, okay? What if you could overcome your limiting mindset? What if you could overcome your perfectionism? What if you could overcome your limiting beliefs? What would your life look like? What would your business look like? Think about that as you're moving forward. All right. So as we mentioned in the emails and the messages before, we've got a couple of winners. So today's winners for our gift cards, we got Robert with Ram Roofing and Troy Proctor from Shieldstone Solutions. They're going to join us live on the video here. Let's see. I think we got Troy here first. So let's go ahead and pop Troy up on the screen. Troy with Shieldstone Solutions. What is up, my man?
Actually on a job right now.
Yeah, buddy. I love it.
Yep.
What are you working on?
Actually, we're pulling wire for some doors, access control. So it's not what I do with my company.
Hey.
I do fencing for my company. So
okay. Filling in there.
Yeah,
That's
working.
all good.
Yeah, no days off. So it's yep.
We'll get you there, my man. We will get you there for sure.
Yep.
Well, appreciate you showing up today, and you get to choose the gift card you want. We got Home Depot, we got Lowe's, we got Menards, or we got Amazon. Which one do you prefer?
Man, I would prefer Menards because I used to live in Ohio where they had that, but now I'm back in Oklahoma. We don't have Menards here, so Menards was definitely the place to be. But
all right, so you want a Menards
I guess
gift card or no?
I wish. I don't think do they ship to Oklahoma? I don't think they do.
I don't know. Probably not worth the risk.
Yeah, let's just go with Amazon.
Okay, Amazon it is. So let me ask you real quick before we wrap up here, Troy. You're a Contractor Plus user, right?
Yeah, I've been using it for a few weeks now. Yep.
Cool. What do you think so far?
Loving it. It's made my whole process super automated and more professional. I can do merchant processing. I've been very busy since I got it. Let's just say that.
Wow, man. I love to hear that.
Yep.
Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, and we'll be
Yeah,
sending
thank
out
you
your
guys.
gift card here. All right. Thanks,
All
man.
right, thanks.
And
Have a good
then thanks, man. We'll see if Robert shows up. If not, we'll make sure Robert gets his gift card. So listen, couple things. Number one, you heard there from one of our users, Troy, about Contractor Plus. Why use Contractor Plus? You heard it from his mouth, right? It makes things so much easier, right? And that's what we're after. So we're going to get Robert here. Robert just joined us. Robert, welcome to the show. How are you? Can you hear me, Robert?
My service is in and out. Sorry.
In and out. It's all good. Where are you visiting us from?
I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Well, welcome to the show. So tell me a little bit about you. How long have you been using Contractor Plus?
So I got started with Contractor Plus the beginning of the year here. So we're just getting into it and figuring it out. So
Nice. How's it helped your business so far?
pardon?
How's it helped your business so far?
So it just helped me keep everything in order and keep my leads in the pipeline and make sure I don't let them slip through.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Love to hear that, man. Well, appreciate you showing up. So same question that we had for Troy. You get to choose a gift card from Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, or Amazon. Which do you prefer?
And
I'm going to guess you said Amazon. You broke up there for a second. Yes? Amazon? Can you hear me?
yeah, Amazon. Sorry, you were cutting out again.
All right, we got
Yep.
it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and I know you're on the road. So appreciate you coming on the show there, Robert. Appreciate you using Contractor Plus, and we look forward to being able to help you some more.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks. Here we got a cool comment by Lindsay. Absolutely love Contractor Plus. Thank you, Lindsay. We're glad it's been able to help you. Now, listen, running a business can be extremely difficult at times. Contractor Plus is a tool that we recommend for all of our clients to use. And for those of you that don't know, I own the American Contractor Network. What we do is training and education for contractors. So if you're looking for more things to help your business in conjunction with Contractor Plus, we are launching our online community here in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to drop the link in the comments. You can go ahead and click on that, go to that website, and then sign up. We are going to have quite a few different giveaways and some cool things that are going to be coming down the pipe. Whoop, that did not work apparently. Wait a moment, then try again. Go figure. So you guys are more than welcome to sign up for our VIP access. As soon as we go live, you will be automatically added and entered into some of our giveaways. So go ahead and head on over there and sign up. We'd love to have you. Remember, though, at the end of the day, success or failure lands 100% on you. So if you're not willing to do the work, don't blame anyone else. It all comes down to you. Appreciate you all showing up today on Mindset Monday. Now it's time to take everything that you learned, go apply it. It's time for you guys to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off